On August 8, 2026, a small group of miners split from the Bitcoin network. They produced exactly 2 blocks before going silent. Their chain has been frozen ever since. This is the story of BIP-110, the most aggressive soft fork attempt in Bitcoin's history, and why it failed so completely. The proposal was written by a pseudonymous developer named Dathan Ohm, with input from Luke-Chair. It aimed to limit data storage on Bitcoin forever. Instead, it lasted less than 48 hours.
Coming up, the problem with Bitcoin data, the proposal that tried to stop it, and why the network said no.
Let's start with how Bitcoin got buried in data. To understand what happened, we need to go back. Bitcoin has a document system called BIPs, Bitcoin Improvement Proposals. They're how the network proposes changes. Most are technical and boring. Some change everything. BIP-110 was different. It wasn't about improving performance or adding features. It was about removing something: data. Arbitrary, non-financial data stored in Bitcoin transactions.
The problem started in early 2023. A protocol called Ordinals allowed people to inscribe images, text, and even entire files directly onto Satoshis. Then came BRC-20 tokens, then runes. All of them used Bitcoin's block space for something Satoshi never intended: permanent data storage. Proponents called it digital art. Critics called it spam.
The cost was real. Every inscription bloats the UTXO set, the database every node must store forever. Node operators faced rising storage costs. Transaction fees spiked during inscription waves. Ordinary payments competed with million-dollar JPEGs. For some developers, this wasn't just annoying. It was a fundamental threat to Bitcoin's purpose. Now the proposal that tried to force a change. The debate intensified in late 2025. Bitcoin Core 30 relaxed default relay limits for OP return, a function that allows small data attachments. This made it easier to store data on-chain. For a group of developers, this was the final straw. They argued that policy-level filtering wasn't enough. The rules needed to be enforced at consensus level. The network itself had to say no. In October 2025, a draft proposal began circulating. It was called the Reduced Data Temporary Soft Fork, RDTS for short. The core idea was simple: temporarily restrict how much arbitrary data could be stored in Bitcoin transactions. 7 new consensus rules, each one designed to make inscription techniques impossible. The proposal was formalized as BIP-110 in December 2025. The rules were precise. New output scripts limited to 34 bytes. Push data payloads capped at 256 bytes. Undefined witness versions became invalid. Taproot annexes banned. Control blocks restricted. OP success opcodes forbidden. Even OP if and OP not if in top scripts were prohibited. These weren't minor tweaks. They were surgical strikes against specific inscription techniques.
There was one crucial protection: the grandfathering clause. Any UTXO created before activation would be permanently exempt from these rules. Existing funds couldn't be frozen, and the whole thing would expire automatically after about a year. 52,416 blocks. Then everything returns to normal. The designers wanted to prove a point, not start a revolution.
The activation mechanism was where things got dangerous. Traditional soft forks require 95% miner signaling. BIP-110 lowered that to 55%. It also added a mandatory signaling window. During those blocks, any miner that didn't signal would have their blocks rejected by enforcing nodes. This was a user-activated soft fork, UASF style, and it was aggressive. But the backlash was immediate and fierce.
Supporters had strong arguments. Bitcoin should be money first, not a data storage network. Arbitrary data creates permanent negative externalities. Miners collect fees once, but nodes pay storage costs forever. Inscriptions inflate fees and compete with legitimate payments. And the temporary nature of the fork meant low risk, a clean experiment with clear boundaries. Critics were louder. Adam Back, Jameson Lopp, Michael Saylor all spoke against it. Their concerns were technical and philosophical. A 55% threshold risked a chain split. Mandatory signaling was coercion, not consensus. Data can always be obfuscated, hidden, or moved. The cat and mouse game would never end. And future uses, BitVM, advanced contracts, might be collateral damage. The most damning criticism was about the reckless, technically defective, a threshold far below the traditional standard, a mandatory signaling window that created a trap for miners, and a deployment name that sounded reasonable but hid a radical approach. The critics said this wasn't a soft fork. It was a hostile takeover attempt. Bitcoin Core never adopted the implementation. The reference client stayed neutral. But Bitcoin Knots, an alternative client, included it. And that was enough to create a fork, not of the code, of the network itself. By March 2026, signaling began, mostly from one mining pool, Ocean. The support was minuscule, but the clock was ticking toward August. The mandatory signaling window opened on August 8, 2026. Block 9,661,632. The rules were now active for enforcing nodes. If a miner produced a block without the signal, it would be rejected. The very first block in the window came from Antpool. No signal. The enforcing nodes rejected it, and the network split.
Here's what happened when the chain actually split.
The minority chain produced its first block immediately, mined by Roughnecks, a group operating through Ocean Pool and Datum. Then a second block, block 9,661,633. And then, nothing. The chain went silent. No third block, no continuation. The difficulty was still the full Bitcoin difficulty, around 127 terahash. But the minority had almost no hash rate. Estimates put it at 0.15% of the network. Roughnecks announced they were pausing mining on August 9th. Then they said they'd resume on the 10th. They even mentioned changing the proof of work algorithm entirely. None of it mattered. The chain never produced a third block. The main Bitcoin network, the one everyone actually uses, continued without interruption. It never activated BIP-110's rules. It simply moved on. The official repository marks BIP-110 as closed, not active, not rejected, closed. The signal was unambiguous. The Bitcoin network had been asked a question. It answered with 97.47% of miners refusing to participate. The maximum voluntary signaling reached just 2.53%. After the split, it dropped to 0.
This moment matters because of what it proves. Bitcoin has a governance mechanism that isn't written in any constitution. It's enforced by economics. A soft fork needs more than code. It needs hash rate. It needs nodes. It needs the free market of miners choosing which chain to extend. BIP-110 had a plan. It didn't have the network. The lessons extend beyond this one proposal. User-activated soft forks without miner majority are effectively impossible. The threshold matters less than the reality of economic incentives. Miners follow the chain that pays. The minority chain was technically valid to its supporters, but it was economically inviable. Difficulty doesn't care about ideology.
Finally, the lessons this leaves behind for Bitcoin.
The debate about on-chain data isn't over. Ordinals, runes, BRC-20,
They still exist on Bitcoin. The network didn't remove them. It chose to tolerate them. But the conversation about costs, incentives, and purpose continues. BIP-110 failed as a technical proposal, but it succeeded in forcing the question into the open.
For regular users, nothing changed. Transactions confirmed normally, holdings were untouched. The split was invisible to anyone not watching the chain data. This is the quiet strength of Bitcoin. It absorbs attacks, absorbs arguments, absorbs failed proposals, and keeps producing blocks every 10 minutes. The system is designed to survive its own disagreements.
The technical details matter for the record. The threshold was 55%, 1,109 blocks out of 2016 in a difficulty period. The start time was December 1st, 2025. Maximum activation height was block 963,648. If activated, the rules would have lasted until block 965,664 and then expired. None of that happened. The parameters were never reached.
There's a deeper story here about Bitcoin's culture. The network has a memory. It remembers BIP-148 in 2017, a UASF that succeeded with broad support. It remembers SegWit activation. It remembers the block size wars. Each episode teaches the same lesson. Consensus can't be forced. It must be built. BIP-110 tried to shortcut that process. The network responded with indifference.
The final block of the minority chain sits at 961,633. It will likely never be extended. It's a monument to a question Bitcoin answered. Not with a vote, not with a declaration, with a simple economic fact. The chain that most people mine is the chain that most people use. Everything else is just a proposal. Bitcoin continues, the debate continues, and the blocks keep coming.